Hey guys, welcome back. We're finally getting around doing this yearly tradition. Of course, we have to do it because we're reviewing stations. So, Mahan wanted to join in too with the last minute, so we said, sure, come on by. So we're gonna go through this probably as fast as we can because we got like one more video work out of this, and we gotta be done in by 3 hours. So we don't want to make this a 3-hour video.
Yeah.
So
that's more than enough time.
Yeah, hopefully it should be. But like, I think our worst video last year took about an hour and a half. So let's try to keep it a little shorter.
Okay.
So it's gonna be me first, then Grant, then Mahan, then just back to me for each individual spot.
All right, going from the bottom up.
Yep. So
Okay.
let's start with my number 10 pick, which is kind of a cheat and also a tie, because I liked both these movies for basically the same reasons, and I couldn't pick between them. So my number 10 is Selma and Straight Outta Compton. Mostly for the kind of like the same reason, because I think...
Black people?
No. Oh, they have important cultural implications. For starters, but thank you for immediately making me into a racist asshole. But
No, you're a positive racist.
You have black people films on your top 10 list. You're racist.
You're better than the Oscars.
I just love putting you on the spot because you get flustered no matter what. Even if it means nothing, you get flustered by it. It's great.
Fair enough.
So-
Because I'm the whitest person in the group. Of course I'm getting flustered.
There you go.
I mean, even Grant has more hair than I do, so his whiteness is covered a little more.
All right.
Anyway, so no, I think what I love about both movies is, of course, like the cultural implication. I think they both nailed who they were trying to talk about, and they avoid a lot of the biopic pitfalls that I can't stand, where it focuses, like most biopics, crappy ones at least, focus more on what the people were trying to accomplish rather than the people themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that's how every one of those biopics always fails to compete, because they always over-dramatize
It defines the character.
It defines the character, and it doesn't make them interesting. This one, it's all about the characters. It's all about Martin Luther King. It's all about the people from... I forget that
NWA.
NWA, thank you. I'm not a rap fan.
So white.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, so I think they both nail the characters, both nail the drama, and especially the people on Straight Outta Compton were so ridiculously close to the actual rappers. It was quite frankly fucking scary.
Dude, the guy they found for Tupac still freaks me out.
Oh, I showed my girlfriend that. She was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, it's shocking.
No, it's like
flat out shocking.
Because I showed the standalone pics, like, oh, he kind of looks like. No, this is him in the movie. What the?
And like even like Ice Cube's son does it's an insanely good impression of his dad that it's fucking scary. Like right down the way his lip moves and his eyes move and shit. It's like this is practically fucking identical.
Yeah.
I mean, are both movies perfect? No, that's why they're close to the bottom of the list. Like there was some dumb controversy with Selma when that came out about how the way the president was illustrated. That whole controversy was stupid. That whole thing was stupid and overblown. But Straight Outta Compton is kind of like Paul Giamatti. I thought was a little over the top at times, and I love Paul Giamatti, but his last few movies I've seen him in, I've not been big fans of him.
He has his hits and misses.
Yeah, like although I still love him in Amazing Spider-Man 2, for all the wrong reasons.
Okay.
Did you ever see Spider-Man 2?
No, not the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
It's not a great movie, but
Yeah.
Paul Giamatti just hams it up all the way. It's great.
All right.
But anyway, like those movies, I thought they were great. I thought they got their point across perfectly. I think they're important films to see, if only to understand like other cultures and other very important cultural times for the black community. And it's very fascinating film. Both of them are. So I think it's all I have to say about that. So Grant, what's your number 10?
For me, I think it was Brooklyn.
Brooklyn was like this close to being on my list.
Yeah. Because you know me, I was not the biggest fan of Straight Outta Compton. Like, I thought it was good, but the problem was, like, it was one of those movies where I had the same issue you had with The Revenant, where, like, the first chunk of it was great, but by the time I got to the third act, I was just like, well, the first 2/3 were great, but the third act was basically just, I could not deal with the fact that all they were just bickering about was money for the most part. And I was just like, eh.
Fair enough.
Well, it was the real story. So.
Yeah, but unfortunately, reality does not always translate well.
Yeah, no, yeah. That's its own whole history lesson, but
love those first 2/3 though.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, just because never thought I'd see a romance flick on my thing in the middle, but
it's such a sweet movie.
It's it's well done. It's like it examines a bunch of like the cultural implications and differences, as well as like the way that some of these communities actually kind of interacted. Freaking funny as hell.
Do you know what Brooklyn is?
Well, I know that I'm aware of what the movie is and everything. I also, one of the things I know about it is that it does kind of focus on how the Irish were discriminated against back in the day, right?
A little bit.
A little bit.
It doesn't go into it. It's more about the romance plot than anything else.
Yeah,
Well, but doesn't her
characters-
family like not like her because she's Irish or something like?
that's more play for laughs. That's play
Yeah,
for laughs.
like it's very because like when they first interact, it's like, oh yes, I'm gonna apologize to my family. One of my brothers specifically, he's kind of dumb, so sorry. And so like the family's inquisitive, but they're not really offensive. It's like, except for like this 12-year-old son's like, so yeah, my family doesn't like the Irish. It's like, shut up! It's like,
Well,
because he got beaten up by a cop. Look, I may have said some things, but I don't think the cop was actually Irish. Yeah, he was just red hair and had hairy legs. Or something like that.
It's movie's got a lot of charm, and again, it has fucking really sweet characters, and it's a hard movie not to like. It's one of those movies where there's something that's very wonderfully. I don't want to use the word beautiful, but like the cinematography's beautiful, but it's such a damn likable movie. It's such damn likable.
Charming.
Yeah,
charming.
It's kind of like it's that best way to describe it. Like I still had issues. Once again, though, like Revenant, though I did have issues with like. It felt like the first half was so damn enjoyable. The second half, when she was in Ireland,
yeah, that's you and I kind of both agreed on.
Yeah, I was like, it was interesting, but like it sucked the joy out. We had a frustrating moment with like character motivations where thankfully it didn't go down the route we thought it was. We thought it would.
Okay.
I was like, thank you.
I mean, we both agreed that part was necessary.
Yeah.
To make for a satisfying conclusion to the story.
Yeah.
But. Were you looking at the?
Oh no, I just
but like at the same time, I do definitely agree that part of that was frustrating for me too.
Yeah.
So is that all you got for that one?
Yep.
All right, so Muha, what's your number 10?
I'd like to first get and put a disclaimer on my list. I have not seen nearly as many movies this year as these guys, and probably not as many like quality movies on that level either. So my list is probably going to be more fun stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start down at the bottom there. I'm going to go with Kingsman.
You know, Kingsman was actually on my list too.
Really?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, we're probably going to have quite a bit of overlap as we go up.
Probably, yeah.
But Kingsman makes my number 10 because while it was fantastic, fun, crazy, original, entertaining movie, I had some personal issues with certain moments in it that we talked about.
Yeah, we've talked about that before in a video too.
When we talked about it in the review for Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had certain issues with the movie that stopped me from enjoying it to the extent I could have.
I'm thinking we
in
might
terms
agree.
of tone.
I think we might agree on this.
Yeah. But overall, it was still a fantastically original and fun and kind of wickedly clever take on, the spy movie.
Well, it's actually based on a comic book.
Yeah.
So I was just saying it's kind of ironic on the original part, but it still is like.
Well, I mean, you could still look at, say, something like Kick-Ass as kind of a cool original concept. It's just a movie adapted from a cool original concept. So, the movie isn't necessarily a rip-off, it's an adaptation.
My number 9 is actually Kingsman. This is kind of my wild card movie of the year. I kind of have one every year where it's
you're like shocked that you placed Selma and NWA higher than.
Well, it's because I just enjoyed Kingsman so goddamn much.
What is your favorite movies of the year? What would you go?
I mean, I'm not going with I'm not. These aren't critically acclaimed. I'm not the fucking Oscars. Yeah. I was gonna say based on how much.
You are not Mr. Oscar himself.
I'm not Mr. Oscar.
Yes.
No. But I was like, last year I put John Wick.
We should get you a gold bodies.
Just stand still. Welcome to the best 10 of the year. I am Mr. Oscar. Anyway. Anywho.
Vaguely horrifying.
I'm thinking now.
Anywho, that's actually not a bad idea. We might do that one day.
Go on.
But anywho, no, I think last year I put John Wick on my list, and the year before that I put Pacific Rim on my list. Not because they're better than some of the other movies that came out this year.
They're fun.
Exactly.
Well, John Wick was legitimately good though.
Well,
we're not going to get into how awesome John Wick was. We'll talk about.
Well, except I chose that over Nightcrawler, which is objectively a better movie.
Oh yeah.
But anywho,
I will agree with that.
Yeah. But anyways, Kingsman's movies, I enjoy it so goddamn much. I like it a little more every time I watch it. It is one of those movies I feel like you do kind of need to watch it multiple times to get
It grows on you.
What?
It grows on you.
It grows on you. It's just a wonderful love letter to the old James Bond hokey spy days. It knows exactly what it is. It's not trying to be anything more. And like the action sequences and Matthew Vaughn's like style of directing just works so well here.
Dude, the cinematography was fun.
The cinematography is great. The dialogue is great. The characters are a lot of fun. The action sequences are some of the even like the one you and I kind of have issues like you and I kind of disagree on a little bit, but I totally get why that bothers you. It's like it's so beautifully choreographed.
It really
it is so.
I have such conflicted feelings about it. Like I'm watching and I'm like, this is really cool, but I am upset about it.
But it's so wonderful. It's like one of the best action sequences I have like seen in a movie in fucking years. It is so wonderfully choreographed. There's so much shit going on that I can just look in the background and see shit that I missed like the first 5 times I watched it. It's so wonderfully made. Colin Firth is just fucking great. Samuel Jackson is great. Like. I had such a huge fucking blast watching the movie, and like, for that alone, it's worth knocking off Ex Machina. And I know it's on your list, Grant, and I felt bad. Yes, I knocked.
You knocked off Ex Machina for.
I did.
Wow, man.
I did.
Just stab you where you stand.
It was a tough. It was a tough call, but it came down to like, okay, if I'm gonna sit on my DVDs, which one am I more likely to put in, Ex Machina or Kingsman? I went with Kingsman because like I'm.
That's basically what it came down to for mine, which is gonna dictate some of my choices.
Yeah, I know. I know exactly which one you're talking about. You're gonna have to justify that shit.
I don't give a damn. I will. I will defend my statements till the fucking death.
Okay, so Grant, your turn.
The Big Short.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that did not make my list.
Oh, I really wanted to see that.
Yeah. Like it is like I thought this like we had issues like I think it was just because it was so much to take in. Mm-hmm. But like it is a very smart, very well thought out movie that actually tries to explain explain based on like the economic crash. I thought in an entertaining and very ironic but scathingly satirical way. Mm-hmm. And like I thought that for the most part it succeeded. Like the image, it's like I think it's one of those things like you have to watch it multiple times. Like I still need to watch it again, just like taking things, but like
it is a movie that is going to demand to be seen more than once.
Yeah, and I think like it's hard to. It's just
what impresses me about it is that Adam McKay managed to make that.
That's the thing that shocked me. It's like I
haven't even seen it yet, and everything I've seen just doesn't make it sound anything like what he's done before.
Yeah, because oddly enough, the closest thing he's done to it was The Other Guys, because that actually had like an economic political agenda to it as well. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, he really cares about the economy.
as long as he doesn't let Will Ferrell touch it, that's all I really cared about.
Yeah, but it's just like well acted, well written, well shot. I like the way they kind of implemented their imagery in here.
I think it was just the narration, like some of the use of the narration I thought was kind of obnoxious, and I think that kind of killed part of it for me. I mean, the segues were fine, but the way Ryan Gosling kept popping back into the show, I was like, oh, shut up, Ryan Gosling, get out of here.
I didn't mind that at all.
See, it bugged me, but I have issues with movies that use narrations. That's a personal thing for me.
Okay, fair enough. But, and of course, like, after he kind of explains everything, you do understand, like, it kind of gives you better justification to be pissed off about everything.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, it gets its point across beautifully. Like, that I'll completely agree on. Is that all you got for that one?
Yeah.
Alright, move up.
Alright, my number 9 would be Ant-Man.
It was a lot of fun.
Ant-Man was just a thoroughly enjoyable movie for me. And I know that some people have the complaint that it was like a poor man's Iron Man. I think if you start looking at any superhero as a poor man's version of any other superhero, you can do that with a lot of things.
Yeah, because Batman's viewed as poor man Iron Man. Or is Iron Man as poor man? No, sorry, other way around.
What?
Well, it's like, if you look at Iron Man and look at Ant-Man, you have to...
We're not descending into the comic book hole.
I'm not.
We can't. Okay.
I'm just saying this is what some people have told me.
I'm talking strictly for the movies. It's like, because the way the outline of the story is set up, both Iron Man and Ant-Man are nearly identical.
Yes. No, I mean, I understand the problems people have with it, but I mean, the fundamental problems that the characters face are completely different.
Yeah, that's
fair.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Stark is an alcoholic, billionaire, whatever. Ant-Man's just a dude trying to, earn enough money for his daughter. And I really like the chemistry of the writers. The fact that you had Edgar Wright and Adam McKay working on the script along with those two other guys, and injecting those little bits of weird-ass humor into it.
I know it was originally it was Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish.
Yeah.
But then they left because we don't like this a standalone story, and then Adam McKay and whoever it was, change it to fit Marvel's needs.
Yeah. But you can still very much feel Edgar Wright's hand in it.
You can. You can also feel Adam McKay's influence on it too.
The interesting thing about it to me was that it managed to maintain such a decent level of humor throughout the entire film. Like the charm and the cleverness of a lot of the jokes that were going on throughout the movie kind of were retained all the way through to the end. Even down to like the minor characters, like his bumbling friends.
They annoyed the shit out of me the first time I saw the movie.
Like I was like, oh, these guys are idiots, but okay, fine. But they're generally good guys, especially when that last guy goes back to get the guard he knocked out. I was like, there you go. That's a good dude. I can root for you. You're kind of an idiot, but you're an all right dude.
Yeah.
And what's his name? The dude who plays that guy from House of Cards, the bald dude.
Oh, he was really good.
Dude, he plays a bad guy so well.
Like
when he first turns that guy into fucking snot dude, that was kind of shocking for me.
I would actually.
That was really jarringly like.
Yeah, I got a little actually disturbed by that. I was like, oh dear God.
Yeah, I was genuinely bothered by that.
I am not a big fan of the movie, but there are parts where like it did things well. That was one. I was like,
Jesus genuinely
Christ.
Horrified. And
like I was genuinely disappointed that character didn't get more screen time, more development, because I felt like if he did, he would easily be one of the best Marvel.
Yeah, it was definitely oversimplified in the script.
Yeah, they laid some good groundwork.
Anyway, it's on my list because I had fun watching it.
No, I agree. It's a movie I've enjoyed more the more times I've watched it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Kingsman in that way. Not as much enjoyment as Kingsman. But
I feel like there's a certain class of movies that are like a solid 8. Like, sometimes you don't want a 9 or a 10. Sometimes you don't want a really good movie to be like, yeah, that was amazing. Sometimes you just want, something fun. And that really fit the bill.
Fair enough. I will say this. Like, the fact the actor can make that silly Yellow Jacket costume and make it creepy somehow, that's a feat within itself.
Yeah.
So, bravo.
Sampled off.
Okay, so...
number 8?
Number 8, yes. I lost my picture. Where's my list? My list? Come back to me. There you are. Okay, so my number 8, Muhai and I were actually talking about this earlier, The Gift. What is my number?
Right.
Fuck! That was a movie I forgot to put on my list!
You want to change that?
Replace something.
Yeah.
You have like a couple minutes.
You know what? Yeah, replace Brooklyn with that.
Okay, good. Now I gotta go back and edit that shit in. Thanks, Greg.
Whatever.
Okay, but we can both talk about that one, because that was a damn good movie. It's like, I was looking through the list and I couldn't find it.
I may have forgot to add to the playlist.
It's actually a little higher on my list, but it's there too.
But no, I loved The Gift. I thought it was a thriller that came right the fuck out of nowhere and just surprised the shit out of all of us.
It's provocative.
It has really good characters. It's a really good character study. It's also just fucking haunting as hell. And that's where I'm using a lot to this list. It's fucking haunting.
Oh yeah, it stays with you long after the credits.
Because like the ending to me is just perfect. It's exactly where I wanted it to end. Like I was watching it in theaters. I saw him walking away at the end of the hospital. I was like, end it. Yes, that's credits. Thank you.
Yeah, I was like, is that it? That's it, isn't it?
Like, like please end it right there, because that's the perfect place to end it, and they did.
Devastation.
What's the name of the guy that played Greedo and
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton did a fantastic job with the director.
Triple threat, man.
Like
unbelievable.
Writer, director, actor just did a phenomenal job on it. Like I haven't watched it again in theaters. All I want to because I just heard that Greedo's in the back and blurred out in the background in a lot of scenes, and I'm like, I want to watch it again to see that.
I have to watch it again not only to see that, but also to approach it and knowing what the movie is the message of the movie is supposed to be, and seeing that progress throughout the film.
Oh yeah, it's Jason Bateman in one of his best performances. It's Joel Edgerton, just the best performance I've ever personally seen him in. It's disturbing. It makes you question everything and everyone in the movie.
Yeah.
And it subverts all the expectations from the thriller genre. Yeah. And I thought it did a great job at that.
So yeah, I'd probably make that my number 9 then.
Okay.
Because it's like had I remembered that would.
I gotta edit that as a number 9 spot, right? You don't realize how much work goes into this.
Yeah. Look, people get to it eventually. Look, I'm just saying it right now because based on replacing my last one, but pretty much I agree with you. It's just like, it was smart, like it had great commentary about the idea of like bullying as well as like how it is a two-way street in which it comes back to bite people in the ass and just completely messes with their lives. Great acting, just creepy as hell, as you said, it was a perfectly executed ending.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, basically knock Brooklyn off the list. Big Short to 10, The Gift to 9.
Okay, fair enough.
For my 8 though, I'd have to say Creed.
That's actually the next one on my list. But
Because that was a damn good, basically, Rocky spinoff. Great acting, great director from Brian Coogler, who I remember it's after finally watching Fruitvale Station, which I will admit was I had the worst opinion on it just based on the trailer alone. But then after actually watching it, I was like, oh my god, this movie's freaking fantastic. So it's after I heard that, it's he's doing Creed? I'm gonna love this! And I loved it!
He's doing Black Panther?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been a fan of Michael B. Jordan since The Wire.
I've been a fan of him since Parenthood, since we did that.
For me,
The Wire is far before.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah. First thing I think I saw him in was Chronicle.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a really good movie too.
Yeah. And
he's always been one of those actors who manages to snag roles that are not exactly significant, but he always kills it.
He's always good.
Wait till you get to my worst list.
Yeah, if you ignore one movie.
Well,
he tried though. He honestly tried.
They did the best they could with what they were given.
Yeah, that is exactly.
Jesus.
But oh god, just fun fact, I've actually met the fight choreographer for that movie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I worked with him on another project, Rope-a-Dope 2.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that.
Yeah, he was the guy that produced it. But yeah, I love the fight scenes. I love the development. I did have one issue though, and it's it felt as we talked about, it was one of those things where it's trying to make a message about being true to your roots, but still trying to branch out and do your own thing. I felt it didn't do enough of branching out to do its own thing, and for beat, it was another Rocky movie. But even then,
and I'll talk about that more when it's my turn to talk about it. But I see what you're saying, but I respectfully disagree with you.
Yeah. No, it's one of those things where some people obviously they're gonna see it differently. But even then, it's just barring that, it does it so damn well that it is hard not to like this movie. Just rooting for I can't remember the character's name that he goes by in the movie.
Creed.
No, the one he goes by throughout before that.
I don't remember. It's it's something generic.
Yeah. But it's hard. It is hard to just not root for Michael B. Jordan throughout this entire movie. It's just also the fact that freaking Stallone knocked it out of the park too.
Oh, you got a Golden Globe for it, and rightfully deserved.
Yeah.
It kind of it's kind of funny though. I heard, and this is a bit of spoilery. I apologize, but I just remember Russell Crowe in South Park going, "You gotta fight the greatest battle of all, fighting cancer." That's what Stallone does in the movie. I apologize for my dog. Someone just came with DPS.
Yeah, but it's just such a damn good movie.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, I'm still pissed that didn't get on the Best Picture list.
Right? It should have, bastards. But
institutional racism. Yeah. All right, number 8 on my list is and this was tricky for me because Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Loved Man from U.N.C.L.E.
I had such a freaking good time watching The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
You and I both fell in love with this movie when we saw it.
That was a movie that had so much charm up its sleeve, and
didn't give a fuck what you thought.
It managed to simultaneously have the old manly man archetypes of spy movies while making it classy, while also giving the female component of the film her own role that does not rely on being a damsel in distress or an accessory or any of that shit. Yeah, there's a point in the movie where she does get captured and has to be rescued, but she is not a damsel in distress at any point. So, I really like how it took that and then made this movie that was... Guy Ritchie has had this thing with writing great dialogue for his movies ever since he started, all the way back from Lock, Stock. And that banter worked out really well in the Sherlock movies, but I feel like the Sherlock movies, especially the second one, got so much budget that they got a bit too pleased with themselves at points. And Man from U.N.C.L.E., while it does have a bit of that smart of being pleased with itselfness, it works perfectly in the context of the spy movie,
Yeah.
Because what's his name? Richard Cavill.
Henry
Cavill. Yeah. He embodies the whole like cocksure American spy the whole way through. Just the humor, the chemistry between the both of them, the fact that both spies, while being the best spies of their individual countries, fuck up constantly on this dumbest shit. A lot of which has to do with them competing with each other. It is just an absolute romp. Like it's just so much fun to watch, and I just
scene
had a
with
great time.
Henry Cavill in the truck.
Yes, just with the music and the
music and like it's carefully tucking into the scarf, and just an entirely different movie happens in the background.
It's like, well, I guess it's time to rescue him. All right.
Yeah. The only part that I think beat that was when they were trying to torture the old guy to get
He's just burning in the background.
Yeah. Damn.
I love my coat in there.
That's where my human centipede side comes out, where I'm like, he's burning alive. Yeah. I loved it.
That movie's a lot of fun. Not enough to make my top 10 list, but I remember it being a lot of fun.
Alright,
and then my next one was... Yeah, Creed. I think I get what you're saying about it, Grant, but for me personally, I think the movie was much more about making something that's already been established and making it your own thing. So I think like the stuff like repeating the beats from the Rocky movies and like kind of just accepting who he is as a Creed, it is all intentional. I think that was a main part of the movie.
As I said, I acknowledge that. I'm just saying like the whole making it its own thing.
I think it did. I think the whole point was like identifying Michael B. Jordan like taking the place of Rocky, and I think that was the point of it. And I think he does a marvelous job at that.
Yeah.
Like I think, and I think it's also a wonderful kind of metaphor for the series in general, as in kind of like passing it over the.
No, it is. It definitely is, and I agree with that. I'm just saying like the whole, as I said, the aspect of like trying to find a way to like really shake up, shake things up a bit, like didn't really fully pan out.
I'm not even sure they're trying to shake things up a bit. I think they were just trying to say, okay, here's a new upstart. He wants to make his own way, and Rocky's gonna help by teaching him his ways, and like he's gonna take his ways, he's gonna embrace it with what he knows, and he's gonna make something new, interesting, or at least something that fits him better with the formula that already existed. And I think that's when the movie succeeds. Because like Michael B. Jordan is fantastic. Like me and Rob are talking about this. We're like comparing the fight scenes in this movie to the fight scenes in other boxing movies. Like this is easily one of the best they've ever done.
Oh yeah.
Like in this
I agree with that.
Like in boxing movies in general. Like this is one of the best they've ever done. And it's just great acting. Stallone does a phenomenal job. His Golden Globe was well earned. Yeah. And it's nice to see him finally getting some like Academy recognition for his fucking work.
Yeah.
Because like we're at an age now, especially with like Arnold Schwarzenegger too. It's like these people can legitimately act. They're not just jokes from the '80s anymore. So let's start giving them fucking credit.
I will say this though. Also, this movie is basically what I wanted Southpaw to be.
I didn't see Southpaw, so I can't speak on that.
I've actually heard extremely good things about Southpaw, so... No.
It is every cliche in the book, that's all you gotta know.
It's written by the guy who wrote Sons of Anarchy, isn't it?
I remember it was Anton Fuqua, so it was the guy who did Training Day. I remember that. He also did, I think it was no, I can't remember. I remember that's, I want to say, it might have also been the guy who wrote Sabotage.
Ugh. Wow, that's...
Yeah, let me double...
Hang on, it's directed by the director of Training Day and Shooter, and written by Kurt Sutter, guy who did Sons of Anarchy. Okay, that explains everything. Sons of Anarchy is an awful
But either way, back to the point though. Creed was a phenomenal film. It was insanely satisfying. Like, every time it reuses a beat from the Rocky franchise, though, it doesn't feel like they're doing it as an homage. It feels earned. Yeah. It feels like, especially at the end when there's a scene where, and it's not really spoilery, but like Creed falls down. He's like thinking about everything he's been through up to that point in the movie. Yeah. That doesn't inspire him to get up. What does inspire him to get up is he thinks about his dad fighting in the ring. That he immediately shoots up like, yeah, I'm gonna be fucking Apollo Creed. Let's do this. And he comes back.
He has to honor my father's memory.
Yeah, well, like, for the majority of the movie is about him trying to separate himself from his father. But in the end, he learns how to embrace it and, like, accept the legacy he's in. And again,
that's the thing. Like, he's like, you know what? I understand how hard it was for him to do what he did. I'm going to honor that work.
But I just love how, like, immediately, he shows, like, some old clips from, like, Rocky 1 or 2, and immediately just shoots right back up. Like, I'm fucking ready to go. And I love that. And that's when the Rocky theme kicks in, too. So, like, that moment just felt beautifully earned. Yeah. Like, I know it sounds corny when I'm describing it, but seriously, watch the movie.
Yeah, it is. Actually seeing it makes a big difference.
Like, it sounds corny when I say it loud.
Executed.
It's like, but the way it feels like such an earned moment, and it feels like what the movie's been building up to. So it absolutely 100% works, even though it sounds cheesy.
Yeah.
And that's where I agree with Michael. Like, even if we kind of disagree on like whether or not it kind of succeeded on the whole balancing, like making your own yet embracing your identity thing. Yeah. Like, it does really earn its place in that. You know, in terms of, and it's funny we mentioned the whole Erniverse being an homage thing. Is like, you can take a lesson from that Star Wars.
We'll talk about Star Wars in a little bit.
I like that movie, but no, it's like it was a great movie, but
I want to say great.
We'll get to it.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
I know Moo has some very controversial opinions about that.
I don't know how controversial they actually are. So that was your
that was my 7.
That was your 7.
Yeah.
The Martian.
I liked it. I'm sure I call my 7. On my list though. What?
Yeah, you.
the Mickey Mouse voice where you said that.
I like the Martian. Oh.
And I remember
let's go save that day.
I can't believe it sounds that high pitched right now.
Because I remember like the fact that we were talking about. Like I remember you seemed like we both were like loving that movie.
I mean, I really had a really fun time with The Martian, but for me, it's like not enough to be in my top 10.
Because me, it's like I thought it was a great movie that like it did a good job like balancing the ideas of sci-fi with trying humor. Like even if I felt like it could have used a little bit of downerism, just a little. It was so damn entertaining, so damn well written. And the fact that I actually used science to like legitimately like.
That was a major part of the book.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's like Matt Damon was just really funny in the movie too. Just, like my favorite part was like when he's talking about how he's gonna be.
Did you see someone compile the list of all the movie budgets? Of movies
I your take to say Matt Damon.
Why does this guy keep on needing to be rescued?
But anyway,
on trailers,
Peach.
They saved him from war. They saved him from space. They saved him from himself. They saved him from space again. they saved him. And now we're gonna save him from space a third time.
But anyway, that's sort of the part where like he's just about ready to get leave Mars, and they're telling like the insanely scary way they're gonna get him off Mars, and he goes, "They're calling me. They told me I'm gonna be the fastest person ever to be in space, but scientists never use the term fast. So I know they're only telling me this because they like the way it sounds, and I do like the way it sounds."
Yeah,
stuff like that. It's really charming.
But yeah, it is one of those things where like, it does something very rare as well, and that's trying to like find the positive to try and get you through such a terrible time. And like, cause it's Castaway on a much happier note.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Where the computer is basically Wilson.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Alright, sure.
And like, the way they do these transitions is just like, I can't imagine what he's going through right now. If I have to listen to another one of these goddamn disco albums, I'm going to kill myself.
It's like, Daisy, you have a terrible taste in music. I mean, like, the science is all very sound. It's all very, very cleverly done. I think that was my favorite part of the movie was, like, science is practically its own character in the movie.
Yeah.
That's how much it involves in it.
And
like, it's all perfectly sound.
It's like... It's the closest thing to having Bill Nye in a drama.
I'd probably go Neil deGrasse Tyson on this one.
Yeah, no, you'd think when we did this.
I would love if Neil deGrasse Tyson's movie and he goes, well, we can't get him from Mars. Actually.
But I did have one... There was like one other issue I had, is the idea that, like... I understand that as a NASA trainee, you're probably going to have some generalized knowledge... But the fact he knew, like, he went from complex math to, he was a botanist who knew complex math, electrical engineering, medical training, and all this other stuff. It's like, okay, I think we might be stretching it a little bit too far here, but...
What, you think they're just going to send some average smart guy to Mars?
Yeah. Well, the fact that,
point.
Yeah, but even then, it's like...
You can't have, like, 2 PhDs and go to Mars. Yeah. You need, like, at least 5.
Yeah. But still, the fact that he's basically the guy that he can do everything, and I mean everything in this movie.
Well, like I said, he's just that much smarter than us.
Yeah. In fact, I think somebody joked was like, suck at Neil deGrasse Tyson. But even then, though, it's just like, it's a really damn entertaining movie.
Yeah. So, alright. My number 7 is Episode 7. Star Wars Episode 7.
Nicely done there. I see what you did.
I did. That was actually completely unintentional, but I noticed and had to say it. Yeah, I found it entertaining enough to allow it onto my list. But the more I think about it, the more I have so many problems with it.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of did. I think they probably bothered you more than they did us, but I think even when we reviewed it, we all agreed it has a lot of problems.
It's like there's a reason that I held off on watching it until I was able to make the trip to San Francisco to see it on the Metreon.
Nice.
And I went and saw it in IMAX 3D, so I paid $20.
Yeah, I saw it at the Dublin theater in that. But from what I heard, the Metreon has an even better projection system.
The Metreon is one of the largest theater screens in the country.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So that in Dublin, but from what I heard, they also have, the Metreon also has like a special 3D projection technology that makes it even better.
Well, I don't know, but I did watch it in 3D. So it was, and I'll tell you, sitting there. When the first scroll came on and the theme came on and it was on the giant batshit fuck screen and it was actually in 3D with letters going away, I was like, like, I mean, I'm not even the hugest Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars, but I'm not like, oh my god, Star Wars. Like, I like the movies, they're fun, but I'm not a nut about it. But when that happened, I was like, this is awesome. Like, and all the action sequences were fun and thrilling, and in the way that action sequences are when they're well made. Of course, the Millennium Falcon chase when they're first leaving the Jakarta planet.
I mean, not Tatooine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're Jakarta. What the hell is that? But yeah, there are. I mean, the internet's on fire right now with thousands and millions of people arguing about why Star Wars has a problem and why people are defending it as like the perfect movie we needed. And
to be fair, they did that with the prequels too.
There's not. I'm just saying, there's plenty of material to look at if you want to know why people have problems with it. My opinions are not anything that haven't been stated elsewhere more deeply, but basically. It's that it didn't have any really original beats in it. The moments in it that were really big did not feel like they were well earned. The characters felt like we were forced to care about them just because they existed, not because they were real characters.
Like, that's the one I would disagree with you on, but...
Because I freaking I loved Finn, I loved Rey, obviously with the older characters.
I like them as characters, but I can't feel them as people.
Okay, that I understand.
Like, they're just, I'm just watching characters run through something. I don't, like, when, like, near the end of the movie, when Finn gets cut down, like, I'm like, oh shit, Finn's down. Like, I'm like, well, that sucks. But there was no part of me that was like, no, Finn! Like,
okay.
And numerous problems with pacing and logical progression throughout the film, and the question of, you know, did we actually make an electrical bow staff thing for fucking stormtroopers that is meant to stand up to lightsabers?
That was a cool fight scene, though.
It was a cool fight scene, but what is that fucking thing he was holding? The point of a lightsaber is that it's the best fucking weapon. Nothing goes against it.
Here's the thing, though. This was made... That was also a weapon in a bygone era. The fact that they've gone down the road, it makes sense that they'd create something to counteract that.
Well, perhaps, but I mean, when you're talking about concentrated laser versus what, electricity?
Well, case in point, though, in the Star Wars universe, the vibroblades are actually able to stand up against lightsabers.
The vibroblades are actually... Yeah, but vibroblades are a different matter.
That's true, actually.
Vibroblades were very specifically, like they're designed a certain way. It just seemed like J.J. Abrams was like, oh, check out this electricity stick.
To be fair, episode 3 had a stun baton that somehow stood up to a lightsaber too.
I didn't even remember that. I don't remember a lot of it.
Yeah, I'd rather...
but anyway,
I remember those ones.
Anyway, so that itself is a minor technicality. That was a really cool fight scene. But say Finn, from the moment that he chooses to desert them to the moment that he chooses to be brave and go in and save her, literally is the same character. There is no progression. There's no arc for him to become a braver person through that. He just kind of says, you know what, I'm going to do it. There's no progression of things that he goes through that makes him a better character. Like, there's no real...
Like,
growth.
I can kind of see what you're saying. I disagree a little bit, but I definitely see what you're saying.
Yeah, because I still got the redemption arc from him.
Well, the redemption arc, in the sense that yes, he went back to save her, but in the laziest fucking way possible.
I think he could have done lazier.
I think the best way to put it, I think, is someone on Facebook said it to me, and it was the most succinct way I've ever heard anybody put it, and it's that J.J. Abrams is a fucking TV director. And he has always been a TV director. Even when he's directing movies, he's directing TV shows. I felt it with Super 8. I felt it with the Star Trek movie. I felt it with Star Wars. They have it's like he doesn't understand the grandeur of cinema.
And yet,
that's a really pretentious ass thing to say. But I stand by it because he knows how to make a cool ass action sequence. But really, when I'm watching Star Wars, it still feels like I'm watching the first season of Lost.
I would disagree. I think I agree with you on like most of the issues of the movie. I think we all kind of agree on that. I think it just depends on to what length it bothers you.
But I'm saying the way that he connected the dots still has that weird little like, you know what, we're just gonna make it that way because we're just gonna make these scenes and find ways to connect them. And the details are the details.
There were definitely some scenes that felt that way. I would absolutely agree.
I just there are numerous problems I have with the new Star Wars that get worse the more I think about it. So
why is it on your number 7 spot then?
Because it was fun as hell.
So that's what it boils down.
But that's the main thing about it. Despite all of its flaws, it is still a Star Wars movie that is easily more enjoyable than the prequels.
Yeah.
It's the best Star Wars movie we've gotten arguably since Empire Strikes Back. And it managed to do it justice, and it's a good starting point. And honestly, it's a Star Wars movie. It's not fucking Citizens Kane. It's not like Star Wars movies haven't exactly been the most consistent in the past. If you want to argue about this against the prequels, you're not gonna have an argument. This has a lot better stuff going on in terms of how it's made. I just wish it had more imagination.
Fair enough.
And honestly, the big moment near the end. I can say it, right?
That's not for spoiler's sake. We all know exactly.
Okay, we're not trying. Okay, so the big moment, I feel like that was the cheapest fucking jab. It was not earned. It was not as powerful as it could have been, and it wasn't the event itself, but specific other characters' reactions that got to me. It wasn't the event, it was other characters reacting to the event.
That I can understand.
And the actual event itself just felt forced and drawn out and kind of ham-fisted, and like there was no real dynamic leading up to it. A lot of it just felt flat a lot of the time. So that's why it's not higher up on my list.
Okay, fair enough. Like I said,
I had a great time.
I definitely get all your complaints. I definitely see exactly what you're saying.
I don't agree with all of them, but I agree with none of them. I mean, that's why it's not even on my list.
Okay,
yeah, it's not on my list either. So
I felt like it kind of had to be on a certain level because it is a cinematic marvel.
For me, it honestly, like, it didn't even make the candidates list for me when I was making the list. So, I really enjoyed it too, but I will be first to say, like, yeah, it has problems. And I'm hoping, but it's a good starting point for other directors to take on and make it something more.
I'm making my list based on, did I have a good time? Did I enjoy the experience?
Yeah.
And I could not, however much I hate the problems that I have with it, I cannot deny that I had a blast at Star Wars.
Fair enough. Now, this
episode 8 is going to be so much better.
I hope so.
It's got the director of Looper.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
And the writer. He's directing and writing it on his own. He doesn't have some team to fucking water that shit now.
Yeah.
And the cast is already saying that it's a way darker movie.
That's what I'm wondering.
Let's move on because we got to make this on time sync.
Yeah.
So number 6 is not even something I would even remotely call a fun movie in any way, and quite frankly was one of the hardest sits of the year. The Diary of a Teenage Girl.
Oh, God. I thought you were going to say something completely different.
No, I know what you're talking about. That's coming up. That was a movie I saw on a whim because Karina wanted to see it. She's like, hey, Zam, it's like, me and Karina haven't seen a movie in a while. The Diary of a Teenage Girl sounds like a good, teenage movie. Okay, I'll go see it. 5 minutes into it, turns to me, go, I'm so sorry! Because it is the fucking darkest coming-of-age story I have ever seen.
Oh, boy.
Because it's all about a teenage girl like having like a sexual awakening with a guy twice her age, and it shows everything. It's fucking dark, and it takes place like I think.
Can you clarify a little more about what you mean by shows?
I don't think I want to know.
I mean, like, the actors are clearly 18, but and that's the only thing that kept me going through some scenes.
Hanky panky, or
There's
Oh,
actually a good third of the movie is hanky panky.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's like blue is the warmest color level.
It basically is.
Or shame.
Shame. Well,
It's better.
Or is that word?
It's better than blue is the warmest color, but like it does have that vibe to it. It actually kind of is. They have a lot in common, except this one has a lot of child molestation in it. It's very interesting character study, but it's really fucking dark, and it's a really hard fucking sit. It's basically how many terrible decisions can a teenage girl make in the course of 2 hours? Without giving anything away, but it's one of those ones. Go into it preparing to have a rough time.
Okay.
Although it does have the single best explanation of how to give a handshake I have ever seen in a movie. Because there's one point where the dad comes in, he says, like, remember, this is how you always give a handshake. Shake hands, make it firm, shake hard, but look him dead in the eye as if you're saying, I'm better than you, you son of a bitch. Which ties in great into the ending, which actually does end up shaking somebody's hand. You hear, like, in your monologue going, I'm better than you, you son of a bitch. And it's such an earned moment because all the horrible shit she's been through up to that point. Oh, it's also worth noting this is also a more disturbing fact. The guy that she's sleeping with is also dating her mom.
yeah, well.
And it gets there's a lot of dark layers.
That's not an entirely new concept to movies like that.
It's not, but the way this movie does it, it's just like it's.
Did you see Fish Tank?
I know of it. I've watched parts of it. I watched the whole
It's
thing.
an interesting movie.
I know it's Michael Fassbender. That was enough to like, okay, I'll watch it.
It is an interesting movie. Michael Fassbender isn't even the main character.
I know. But yeah, that one's a tough sit. I highly recommend it, but it's a tough fucking sit. Grant, you want to go ahead?
I have to say Sicario.
That one's coming up, but
Same here.
Like, that was... Oh, my God. That was...
another hard sit.
Yeah. Like, that was...
I guess maybe a thing to be helpful that while we're talking about movies, considering we have them in different places, maybe detail why we would place them above the last couple ones.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, one of the things that I like about this, like, there wasn't really any major issues I fully had with this one. It's just... It was,
I'm sorry, that's just such a... Like, I put this one up here because it didn't bother me. It's like, I had no major problems with it, so I guess it's fine.
But
what'd you like about it?
well, if you let me get to it, no I'm kidding. But it was because I was about to say it's also just a very smart political analysis of like the drug trade that goes on between us and Mexico, as well as the idea of like. Yeah, it is not a simple problem to solve.
No.
We can't just take someone out, and even if we do, that unfortunately does not solve it. That just is like, all right, who can we put into control? Mm-hmm. And it's like one of those things like, it cannot be solved, it cannot be cleared, and the idea of like having moral high ground, unfortunately, will do nothing. And it is a really just downer in those regards as well.
I mean, I think we're all going to have a certain piece to say about Sicario, so I'm going to save commentary on this for later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Sicario, you're sixth as well, or?
Mine, no.
Okay.
My number 6 is Goodnight Mommy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Damn it! So, actually, I pretty much said everything I want to say about Sicario, so... let's start from the fact that performances were freaking great.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I will definitely have more chances to talk about it.
Yeah. Great cinematography, great directions, just really solid overall.
We're probably going to have 3 different chances to talk about
I
this
still
movie.
want to see Goodnight. I've still seen the movie, though.
You haven't seen Goodnight Mommy?
No, I was gonna join you guys, but something came up.
I'm not
That's
gonna
right,
say it. Yeah, it's very important not to spoil that movie though.
It's a spoiler. Either you're guess right away, or you're gonna be like a dumbass like me and not even think about it until the very end of the movie.
No, because here's the thing: some people see it coming from the start. Some people don't see it coming at all.
Is it a whole thing?
No, don't even ask.
Okay,
what's wrong with you? But the thing about it is that the movie manages to be extremely smart in how it approaches the subject by giving you a horror movie that kind of gets under your skin with the whole kids in danger concept, and it manages to basically halfway or 2/3 of the way through the movie flip that entirely on its head in the weirdest way, and The last time I saw a subversion that unexpected and clever in a movie was Babadook.
I think you and I think we talked about this in the review, but I think the way I put it is like it's not a directly horror movie necessarily because it's not very scary, but it is a horrifying movie.
Yeah, it gets under your skin. It makes you uncomfortable. It makes you squirm. But as you go through the movie, and you start to realize like what the real story is of what's going on, it goes from being kind of creepy and scary to flat out just uncomfortable and horrific.
Mm-hmm.
And the ending is a fucking sucker punch.
Yeah.
It's not. Oh my god. In terms of a horror movie actually getting to me, like you can have horror films that have plenty of gore and everything, but getting psychological horror down.
Yeah.
Just watching the trailer for this movie should give you an idea that it has a more psychological, creepy side of horror. But the intelligence with which the trailer was crafted to complement the mystery of the film is brilliant.
Nice.
And that's really all I can say without spoiling anything. But definitely the best horror movie of the year for me.
Yeah, I would agree on that. Well, to be fair, it's not very good here for horror movies either.
Yeah, true. But also just a wickedly intelligent and clever take.
Yeah, I'd agree on that.
You don't get that very often.
Alright, so my number 5, The Hateful Eight.
Nice.
Because, like, honestly, like, when I watched the movie and I saw the Roadshow version of it,
Yes.
woo, but like if I felt like watching like this was a movie clearly meant with somebody like me in mind.
Yes.
Because like there are problems in the movie and there's a gigantic plot hole that for some reason I didn't think about at the time, but afterwards like okay that just kind of ruined it a little bit.
I'm curious to hear about that later.
Okay, I'll explain after we're done recording, but because I don't want to give anything away necessarily. But
Yeah.
I love Tarantino movies. I love his style of directing. I think you and I agree it's probably a little too long. But even then, I can't think of anything I would cut out because every scene still has a purpose.
The movie is completely self-indulgent.
It is.
Yeah.
It is absolutely a self-indulgent.
It is absolutely pleased with itself, and you have to go in being totally prepared to be one of those people who loves it for that.
I think that might have been my issue with it because I got the same vibe from Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Oh god, I loved Inglourious Basterds.
I love Inglourious Basterds.
Because there's something cocky about that whole style that I just fucking love.
Well, it's like, the thing about Hateful Eight is because the character personalities are so fantastic. They're so much fun. The dialogue is great. I love bottled mystery movies, and we don't get enough of them. So, like, as soon as I found out this is like, yes, I so want this so badly. And I loved every second of that. I kind of saw the twist coming towards the very end. There's one, like, who did that, who I figured out right away.
I did not see the amount of death coming.
Oh, no, like, towards the very end, it's just a fucking bloodbath.
Yeah, I did not see, and the gore, oh my god.
Yeah.
The amount of gore that Daisy is covered in is hilarious.
But it's like, everyone's great, it's so much fun, and it's one of those movies, I love mystery movies, I love westerns, and I love bottle movies. So, put all those things in, like, a 2-hour and 45 minutes, like, fuck yeah, I want that so badly. And even just, what's his name, Tim Roth's character, I loved his voice so much, because it felt like he was orgasming on every line.
Honestly, when I first saw the movie, I was like, I'm not gonna say whether or not it's true. I didn't remember when I first saw the trailer. I was like, he did it, didn't he?
I was like, I don't believe in frontier justice. That. Then he goes, see the court, you're the, does it? Oh yes. He like every line he said like
say it looks like they just have an ashtray. He's gonna be having a little fun.
Like, do you have Abraham's letter? Like he said everything with a sly wink and a smile, and I fucking love that.
Tim Roth relished every word that came out of his mouth. It was like he tasted it as it went. It was like,
like he said, he was like, it sounded like he was trying to hit on somebody, and every line he said, I think it's a comparison we did in the review. It was like he sounds like he's coming up to hit on people on every line he does.
He's hitting on the audience, and it worked.
It did. Turned me on. I was like, "Ooh, Mr. Roth, gonna make a woman out of me."
Make an honest woman.
Make an honest woman out of me. But no, it's one of those movies like it totally has problems, and I don't think it would. I would say it's one of Tarantino's more adult movies, while still indulging in Tarantinoisms.
Yeah, of course.
But it's like Sam Jackson's best roles in a long time.
Oh, the story he's told.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh.
That whole sequence.
It was
Just
like-
look on Bruce Dern's face. It's Bruce Dern.
Love
man.
Bruce Dern.
Yeah.
But him and I like what the guy who played the Confederate rebel.
Walton Goggins?
Yeah, like that. That's the best role I've seen him in a long
Walton
time.
Goggins is an old favorite of mine.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy that he got what he got. I've been a fan of his ever since I started watching him in The Shield.
I never saw.
Right,
The
he
Shield,
was
but-
in that.
Yep, he was one of the 4 cops.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, like, every time I see him, it's like, hey, he's Walton Goggins. Like, I keep forgetting that's what I've seen him in.
He's the first place I saw him in that was major was The Shield, and then he was also in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Like,
I did not watch that.
there is kind of like a
Sorry.
MacGuffin kind of character that pops up halfway through, and as one said, I know I should have seen it coming because I saw his name in the fucking credits at the beginning of the movie, and I completely
yeah.
forgot about halfway through.
Yeah.
Like, damn it! Why did I not see that coming? I saw his name in the credits.
No, when I saw his name in the credits, I was like, wait, what? I'll have to keep an eye out for it.
I heard about that, and it was
Yeah.
like,
Well, that's bizarre.
yeah.
Addition to the cast.
Apparently, he mailed Tarantino for a month and a half to try and get
Yeah,
that
I
role.
heard about that.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would.
I would
Fucking-
too, yeah, like,
if
as
you
an
have a
actor-
career in Hollywood and you have the chance to say, Tarantino, please put me in your movie. Please. I'll do anything. I don't care. I'll do anything. I don't care. Yeah, no, I understand. Totally.
But no, like one of those things, like I said, I get why some people don't like it, but for me, it's like it's exactly the kind of movie that I adore. So that's the reason it's on my number 5. So,
Yeah.
Randy, you want to go ahead?
The funny thing is, like, I completely forgot I had this movie on my list, but I'd probably still place it slightly higher. Ex Machina.
Yeah, I mean, that movie has not done well over time for me. I think that's why it didn't pop up on my list.
I still need to watch it.
For me, it's like, even though there were some kind of weird moments in it,
Oh, you didn't like Isaac? You didn't like Oscar Isaac dancing?
I still don't know. I still just, what the hell did that
Was
scene?
that the Spider-Man 3 moment? Was
Kind of was.
And no, thankfully they acknowledge this because even General Ginger.
General Ginger. I don't know what the actor's name is. I'm never going
Donald
to memorize
Gleason.
it. I don't want to know. His name from
Too
now
late.
on is General Ginger. That's his name from now on to the end of time.
He got demoted to captain in The Revenant. But it's like, I just love this idea of like finding that borderline between what, if an AI can act like a human, think like a human, does that make it human, does not? It's like,
Yeah.
is the physical barriers and the fact that the entire movie acts as a meta Turing test, which I thought was just
well, I mean,
genius.
it's classic sci-fi
Yeah.
philosophical conundrum.
Yeah, well, it's the fact that it actually not only questions the character, makes the character question things, but also makes the audience question things. Certain, like, it tries to find a way to suck you into it, and, like, trick the audience as well.
Well, that is
Like-
some of the best CGI I've ever seen.
Yeah, well, it's because it was used very sparingly. And just great performances, and of course, it's done by, oh god, I forgot the writer-director's name.
He's the guy who did 28 Days Later, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the writer of that, the writer of Dread, writer of Sunshine.
Mm.
Oh,
He's not a huge fan.
Alex Garland, there we go.
Yeah, okay.
Who's like,
And it's his directorial debut, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, he's also the story supervisor for the newest Devil May Cry game.
Oh. Hmm.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit!
That makes sense.
I like the last Devil May Cry game.
It's just, I love kind of like, just, how smart the story was about it.
Yeah.
And like you said, the fact that, the CG was really top notch by using it, like, only when it needed to. And having a fairly questionably downer ending that,
It's kind of ambiguous.
Mm.
yeah.
But we will.
But either way, it's just like one of those things where it's just like,
Because you've already
I will
sworn at me.
stab you.
Exactly.
I will stab you in the...
Funny you should say
Everywhere.
that. No, I'm kidding.
I'm just like, Jesus!
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I mean, I think what was the honest poster for the Oscar nominees for this one was just, would you do it? You would, wouldn't you? You probably would, you sick bastard.
Probably would.
Yeah.
You want to go?
All right. 5, right?
Yep.
The Gift.
All right,
I
back
saw
on
The
this
Gift
one.
right at that one.
You just watched this like last night, didn't you? Or like
A couple nights ago, yeah. It's the thing that struck me about The Gift that made me have to put it up on the list, because I had a kind of a tricky time figuring out where to go. Because now we're getting to the part of the list where we're questioning the what's more valuable, how good a movie is in terms of how long it sticks with you, emotional impact it has on you versus how much fun you had watching it. And I can't say that I had a really fun time watching this movie. but there was definitely, there are a couple of interesting jump scares that don't feel contrived, which is...
That's true.
Really rare for a jump scare. I hate jump scares.
Me too.
But that one part where she's having the nightmare...
I'm trying to remember that. Oh, the shower scene.
Yeah. She wipes the condensation off of the shower door, and he's like right there. That was not only an excellently executed visual trick, but also jarring on a deep level. Just whoa. I jumped and went, ah! Like, I was watching on my laptop with headphones.
That's a good way to use jump scares. Use it sparingly so you're not expecting it.
Exactly. And off the top of my head, I can only count like 3 that were in the movie.
Yeah, there weren't very many.
And the thing about the movie is that it, not only the way that it executes the mystery itself and the concept, but the little touches that it takes on the way there. The way that the house is shot makes it feel like a glass case.
Yeah, like you're being watched.
Yeah.
That's
there are so many shots in that movie where the character's just walking around and it focuses on a long hallway where it's kind of darker at the end. Or the fact that they're eating dinner and there are just dark windows all around. And it's not meant to be, like just straight terrifying. It's just kind of putting those elements there and letting them creep under your skin at whatever works for you. But the fact that each gift that arrives becomes a little more unsettling, like you're kind of scared to see what each one is.
Yeah.
Even though it hasn't been anything particularly terrible so far.
Even though you find out what the actual gift is at the very end.
Maybe. Maybe
I'm
not.
not talking about that one. I'm talking about the one the actual gift that's on the door.
Oh, yeah.
Exhibit A, basically.
Yeah. No, the way that it goes about, the way it executes the thriller tropes are so brilliant, and the way that it portrays the wife's paranoia as she realizes that her husband's hiding something from her too. It immediately gave me callbacks to like Rosemary's Baby, and it including like even the short haircut and everything. Like it had that vibe of this pregnant woman trying to get pregnant woman. A baby's involved somehow.
Yeah.
And like she's trying to she's alone in this house all day. Like she's treated like she's crazy by her husband when he tells her that she's being paranoid. And the cool thing I liked about it was when she realizes that he's lying to her, she actually takes a stand. Yeah. And she doesn't... It really does give you the idea that the kinds of lies that Simon's character indulges in really do have far-reaching consequences, and they do affect people. And the issues that it touches upon with bullying, and the fact that those issues affect people for their whole lives. It did a lot of things very intelligently, and I'm still thinking about the movie, and I still want to watch it again. And I don't think I'm going to enjoy it, but it's going to be interesting, and it's going to make me think about different things in life. And I really like how it pulled that off, and I think it deserves a spot on the list for that.
Yeah.
And especially because, when you compare it to things like Star Wars or Goodnight Mommy, like you're talking about movies that are basically just entertainment. This thing gave you something where it was a thriller, but also...
Wait, Goodnight Mommy was entertainment?
Well, yeah, it's a thriller, technically.
I guess.
I mean, the entertainment of that is being thrilled and scared, right? The Gift is a thriller with a certain kind of thought to it as well. There's something deeper to it to think about.
Yeah.
Pulled in. And I really appreciate that. So, yeah. Number 5.
Let's move on, because it's like getting close to 5:30 now.
Yeah.
My number 4 is Sicario. Alright, so going over this one very briefly, because you were about to point out, and we're going to talk about it again later. I love this one, love is an operative word, I don't know, but I'm not sure love is the right word, but, it's just very... It's another one of those movies that captures a real-life situation in a more realistic way, and just so it's again, it's not a black-white situation. And it does that through Emily Blunt's character, who's the perfect, kind of fish out of water / more pure character.
She's us.
Yeah, she's us.
She's our foil.
She's the what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's the straight man in the movie. Vessel. There you go.
Yeah, it is very much meant to be the thing. She is the character that is meant to represent the audience's view of these things.
Mm-hmm. And you have Benicio del Toro, who's just creepy as fuck and is so fantastic in the entire movie, especially that final scene he's in is amazing. Josh Brolin is amazing.
I don't think there's a single actor in that movie that is not amazing in every single thing they do.
I mean, but Josh Brolin in particular, he's funny, but at the same time, you also get the feeling he's the character who just gets shit done.
He's perfect for that role.
Mm-hmm. And it's even there's just such a weird joke moments. Even the one we didn't talk about in the review that made me laugh was when they get off the plane and he's talking "Hey man, how you doing? Burns when I pee." It's might be gonorrhea, dude. He goes, I see little red spots in my urine. That's blood, dude. Shit like that. He's so totally okay with the dark shit he has to do that he can just make these casual conversations. Emily Blunt just looks on in horror at all the shit that's going on. It's that's just the way it is, and just the ambivalence.
You've never seen real combat, have you?
Yeah, it's just the ambivalence and just the nonchalantness. A lot of the characters approach this, even the very end of the movie is fucking haunting too, because it's just kids playing soccer and they hear gunshots in the distance and they look at it for a second and then they just keep playing. That's just a day in the life, and that's a movie that sticks with you right there for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So that one leaves a fucking impact. Grant, you're number 4?
Selma.
Okay.
Because that one, it's I like the whole fact that, as I said, they did a good job kind of examining, the situation, the whole, the emergence of civil rights back in the day, trying to find, the underlying causes of, some social upheaval, as well as, trying to find ways. So what will actually make things better? And at the same time, they use this almost as, a parallel to try and give, the Black Lives Matter movement, template to work with, to give it something much more tangible. I just kind of loved how it found a way to mirror the past with the present, as well as still having great performances, great writing. Also, I like the fact that it kind of acknowledged the whole. I'm trying to think the best way to describe it. Subtle political maneuvers in which they had to work things around.
Political games they had.
Yeah. The idea it's just because this is a good plan does not mean they did 100% good, in terms of how they achieved their goals. The whole idea of, they acknowledge that, some people, almost acknowledging that, some people had to get hurt. Not necessarily letting it happen, but...
It's into their advantage.
Yeah, exactly. They found ways to kind of, work things in their favor, in an, almost
Well, I mean, the real Martin Luther King was a genius in marketing his... Martin Luther King. Martin's questionable cousin. No, Martin Luther King was a genius in marketing his campaign and marketing his ideals, and that's a big reason why he succeeded. He knew how to use protests in a way that would actually change things rather than just making noise for noise's sake.
Yeah, people don't know how to protest anymore.
No, he was a genius when it came to that. He knew exactly how to use the media, he knew exactly how to use people, and he knew exactly how to rally his cause. Even a lot of people say, especially I remember there was part when they start marching, some people are bringing guns, don't bring that. If you do, that's going to destroy the entire point of everything we're doing. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And so, it's I appreciate they, as I said, they found a way to try and make this more... God, my vocab's gone to shit today.
Maybe Martin Luther King can help you.
Yeah, let's go with that. It's just...
Topical.
Yeah, there we go. Even better. Topical is the best word for it.
Yeah. It's a very well-timed release.
Yeah.
Considering. Alright, so my number 4 is The Hateful Eight.
Yes.
I love this movie.
Me too.
Even though, honestly, I would arguably it's Tarantino's worst film. And
no, Death Proof.
I disagree.
Really?
Because I don't consider Death Proof as one of his main films. It's a short film, basically.
Well, not if you watch his 2-hour version, but even...
Oh, Jesus.
No, because the Grindhouse one, even at an hour and a half, that was the watered-down version. From what I heard, though...
No, I know. There is a director's cut, but I actually enjoyed that because I know what it's trying to accomplish. The thing about it is that Tarantino movies know what they are and know what they're trying to do and do exactly what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And Death Proof is incredible on its own merit just for being a perfect tribute to that kind of grindhouse film.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it was trying to do, and it pulled it off in a way that is unbelievable, because I'm guessing you're not into that old kind of grindhouse film.
Some of them they are, but it's just that one, for as far as I tell, is like it was just too much.
No. But I'm saying you weren't into that genre, were you? Like, as the actual thing from the 70s and shit. Like, were you ever into that kind of shit? The kind of things that he's trying to pay tribute to?
In respect, I'm trying to think back to. It's one of those things I have to think back
If you
on.
really have to think back to it, the answer's no.
Yeah.
Those are the kinds of things, like, those are the kind of, like, the same way that some people grew up with crappy horror movies, Tarantino grew up with movies like that.
Yeah.
So when he made Death Proof, it was specifically trying to be like that. If it was a better movie in an objective sense, it wouldn't have been that kind of tribute.
Yeah.
So I can't judge it on that level.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
And when it comes to that being that kind of movie, it was goddamn perfect. So, that on its own, I don't include Death Proof in the main pantheon.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But out of all the rest of his movies, Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, the Kill Bill movies, Inglourious Basterds, Django, and Hateful Eight, I would say Hateful Eight is the least of them.
See, I would put Jackie Brown below Hateful Eight. Because, I mean, it works as a blaxploitation film, but I don't know, like, never my favorites.
Jackie Brown's debatable for various reasons, but Hateful Eight is on a level that a lot of other things are not. Schlock. Hateful Eight, it's pulp.
Yeah.
It's Pulp Fiction. Not in the literal sense of the movie Pulp Fiction, but the kind of, like, super violent, trashy ass, penny novels that they used to buy, where, like, people would go out and, like, it would just be filled with pulpy adventures, that, like, the shitty sci-fi novels they used to write and stuff, but with westerns and horror. And he goes and he makes a movie full of characters that are just mean. There's so much, and Hateful Eight's the perfect title for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All these characters are so full of fucking hatred, and the fact that you get to see the whole N-word controversy in the middle of all that being put into the context of two Confederates stuck in a cabin with a notorious black, like, free man who's gone and killed a shit ton of Confederates, like. That's the kind of matchup we're gonna do for the racial tension here. Oh, all right. Now let's give the black man his moment. Like, yeah, that was. Oh man,
that was perfect.
However,
too.
Yeah, and depending on people have different reactions to the Tarantino's use of the N-word, him not being a black man and all. Spike Lee is famous for his complaints about it. Samuel L. Jackson's been fine with it for over 20 years. So clearly there are different opinions about it.
And Denzel was somewhere in the middle.
Yeah. Granted, Jamie Foxx wasn't too thrilled with Tarantino at the Golden Globes, but when it comes down to it, the Hateful Eight is self-confident in a way that anyone who isn't into it will hate. And I love it. Yeah. I'm one of the people who will love it, because it's that standard Tarantino, like, I've loved all these kinds of movies. This is how I love to do a movie. I don't need money from any of you fucks. This is my movie. Enjoy it. Like, he's not doing it for you. Yeah. He doesn't give a shit about you if you don't like his movie. He's making it for people who appreciate long, self-indulgent shots.
I think that's kind of what he's... I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off there, but what he said about, like, remember that infamous Kill Bill interview with the woman who was just clearly biased against him?
Yeah.
And he goes, like, why would you make these movies so violent? And she goes,
because it's
so much fun!
Because it's fun! And if you were fun and cool, you would know that. Like, seriously, something like that.
Yeah. There was one thing I would like to add on, like, the whole, like, conflict about, like, the whole racing. I did like that, it had that political agenda to it.
Yeah, it's like an escalation of it. It's like people threw that shade at him for Django, so he's like, oh, really? Okay. It just goes nuts with it. But and in the way that, aside from the fact, I saw the 70mm Roadshow as well. God, it was so fucking beautiful. Aside from the fact that it is just a wickedly fun, clever, and dialogue's constantly enjoyable. the humor is on point throughout the whole thing. Even when somebody you like dies, it's like, oh shit!
Yeah.
Wow! And it's still a moment where you're like, wow, that was insane. It's entertaining enough for you to be like, I'm not happy that person's dead, but
They went out.
Let's see where it goes. But even down to the little touches in the movie, and which is what really made it for me. Tarantino is a man that has an eye for details that most people don't. And I will bring up this shot forever because it struck me so strongly. And if you've ever done anything with photography or anything regarding cameras where you have to adjust the white balance, like, you will know how insane this is if you've seen the movie. There is a shot where they are in the carriage, and Samuel L. Jackson and Kurt Russell are in the carriage, and it's facing their side, and you can see out the window, and there's the snowy landscape outside, and there's just this brutal glare just coming off of the snow through the window, and it's causing that beautiful, and not quite lens flare, but you know that way that light will bloom and bleed on film?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does that across the entire scene, but it is perfectly white balanced so that you can see Samuel L. Jackson and Kurt Russell completely clearly.
Well, that's the
It
great...
does, but it is such a difficult shot if you know anything about how to shoot things.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that for your average person who's just like, oh, that looks cool. Like, he did that for people who look at that to go, holy shit, that's a good shot.
Well, of course, it also helps out with film. It actually, unlike digital, it actually does a good job of actually capturing those differences to begin with.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's the one thing I miss. God, it's like, watching this, like, oh my god, I miss film so much!
Yeah,
like
I felt that.
Yeah, like that
multiple
texture,
times.
that contrast,
the bloom that comes off of certain bright lights.
Yeah.
And he made that movie for film lovers.
Yeah.
He made that, if you love violence, if you love clever, like, if you love all that Tarantino shit, and you want to see him just make the movie that he wants to make with no fucks given about anybody else, that's it. And I had a great time watching it. It's an ugly, mean, dirty-ass movie, and it pulls off every single thing it set out to do perfectly. Whether or not it's what you wanted it to do, it's what it meant to do.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I fucking loved it.
I thought it was a phenomenal movie, too. Alright, my number 3, Brant, you and I are going to talk about this not too long from now.
Yeah.
Spotlight.
Oh boy.
Spotlight is my number 3. This is the one you
I'm guessing you don't
seen.
want to say too much about it, considering...
No, I mean, like, if you know the plot, you can guess where it's going to go. It's like saying who...
No.
You don't know anything
I've stayed away from anything about it, pretty much, other than it's amazing.
It's like it's based on an actual event that went
So
on.
I hear.
Basically, without giving too much away, it's by far one of, if not the best, like, biopic journalism movies I've ever seen, period. The pacing it's almost all exposition dialogue, but it's done so perfectly, and it's so perfectly paced. It does not miss a beat. Every minute is used exactly the way it's meant to. The characters feel insanely authentic. The way everyone deals with and reacts to this huge story that they uncover is like probably some of the most realistic reactions I've ever seen in any of these kind of movies. It really is so phenomenal how well this is done, how well it's acted, and just, again, I keep using this word because it's appropriate for all these movies, but the ending, again, it's so fucking haunting. Because you'll see a shot of just a building that I can't give away without giving away a big part of the movie. But you see it again, it's like, oh, you don't think anything of it. Then you see that same shot again, like 3/4 of the way in, and it has an entirely different meaning. And you're sitting there like,
that's
holy shit.
That's a skill right there.
I mean, it's so masterfully done. The dialogue is so masterfully put together, and just the way that it allows these characters to react to every big moment they uncover just feels so unbelievably authentic. And it's just, everyone knocks this movie out of the park. Even like Amy Adams, who I'm not a big fan of, not Amy Adams, Rachel McAdams.
Yeah.
That's who that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rachel McAdams, who I'm not a big fan of because I keep seeing those crappy romantic comedies.
She's in a lot of other really good movies.
I'm sure she is, but I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just like, even she like does a really good job. Mark Ruffalo is fantastic. Michael Keaton is fantastic. The guy who plays Sabretooth in Wolverine Origins is fantastic. I forget the actor's name. Actually, didn't lead into the joke where it's like, so Michael Keaton, the Hulk, and Sabretooth all walk into a church.
God.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Because like in retrospect, I'm kind of going to agree with you. Like that's probably is the third. That'd probably be my number 3 as well.
Okay, so we'll put that, I'll just put that on.
Yeah, because I thought I did a.
The only reason like this is not number 3 for me is because the other two movies that
two?
I mean number 3. This is number 3 for me, not number 2. Is just because the other two on the list are so fucking close together, and I had such a huge hard time picking between them.
Yeah.
So like I had to be number 3, but it's still a phenomenal movie. It's a must see.
Yeah, because I did have there was like a small point in the beginning where like I felt like pacing felt just slightly off for the movie, but like,
I think you have to really nitpickly pick that.
Yeah, it is. I will admit that. And also, generally have an issue with like the ones that try to be almost completely fact based, just because I feel like it kind of slims down on the interest of the character, but at the same time, it's like they did such a good job with it here.
Wait, can you repeat that again? I didn't quite catch all that.
Honestly, there's a point where you have to find that weird balance between embellishment and being fact-based. Because sometimes going too real, it doesn't really leave things too interesting. That was my issue I had with Zero Dark 30. Even with the changes they did make, like they tried to be so, so fact-based about it that it was, I didn't really care that much about the people. I didn't find them that interesting. It was just.
But the characters here are great.
Exactly. Like for me, this did what Zero Dark 30 didn't do right. And growing up as a Catholic, in a Catholic school, it's like, yeah.
And even when they talk to like actual victims, that like there's such an authenticity to this movie that's so rare for movies like this because they could have easily over dramatized this, and they didn't. It's like a realistic route to it. That's why it works so unbelievably.
Yeah, because I actually got legitimately like upset at a couple moments, like similar in a way that I was with Big Short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Although I'd say this movie's much better than Big Short.
Oh yeah, it is. But it's like there are parts I just like, oh god, I don't feel good now.
So it's probably why I like Big Short better than because I saw this movie first. So when I saw The Big Short, I think I was subconsciously comparing that movie to the Spotlight, which is maybe I didn't get as much out of it.
Yeah. Well, even then, we both agree this is way better.
Oh yeah.
Probably a different tone though too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's the same basic point where you're supposed to get mad about
I get that.
issue.
But
I mean, like this kind of had the same impact. I would say this even had a stronger impact than when we saw Dear White People.
Who directed?
I don't know who directed.
Who directed what?
Spotlight.
Spotlight. Yeah.
I can't remember. I'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
I'll hop on mine.
Yeah. Well, while we're doing that, Muha, why don't you go ahead with your number 3?
My number 3 is Straight Outta Compton.
All right. Let's hear your take.
Straight Outta Compton, I liked it because it was a really odd mixture of things. It managed to... Because there was a lot of controversy leading up to this film being made in the first place. Much in the same lines of the controversy that happened when it came out, which was much in lines of the same controversy that the group experienced when it first came out, which was you're glorifying violence against police and all that stuff. However, I think that it's clearly, their version of events or whatever, and whoever wants to argue against that can, I don't care. But when it comes down to it, it basically tells the story of NWA and how it happened, and it's been helmed by people who were actually there and actually a part of it, making sure it's as accurate to their version of the story as they want it to be.
I mean, there's only a couple real changes. It's very accurate to what actually lands.
Well, yes, but I mean, if you want to go into the question of, their manager, Paul Giamatti's character, who then sued them for defamation after the movie came out, clearly the movie is not in his favor.
Oh, yeah.
So, it is their version of events. He's not going to get the best portrayal in the film.
Yeah.
However, and clearly it's just Suge Knight too, but fuck that guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die. But the thing about it is that it is for a movie about the beginning of a hip hop group. It was given more of a budget, more respect, executed with more care and craft. Like, I didn't expect that movie to come out as good as it did, not because I didn't have faith in the people that were involved with it, but because I didn't think it would get the resources. Because, movies like that, especially when they're about the black community, I mean, you might be able to get good funding for something like Selma because, that's a pronounced civil rights leader. you can easily say that man deserves a lot of respect in his story. But when you talk about a bunch of rappers who, you know, actually did crime and sold drugs and stuff and want to talk about it like that, then you have people questioning whether or not they should even, you know, be given the glorification of making a movie about themselves and having it be that good. Mm-hmm. But not only were they given the resources and the respect to make their story properly, it is universally critically acclaimed. Mm-hmm. Like, what is it, like an 88% on Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes or something? Like,
it was high 80s, low 90s.
Yeah, really like, it wasn't something where a bunch of people were like, oh, they're glorifying the gang rap style and all that. No, this is about a group of friends and how success comes between them.
Well, it comes back to making movies about characters, the people they're about, rather than just what they're trying to do.
Exactly, and that's why I love The Social Network so much. Mm. Some people were like, "Oh, the Facebook movie," but no, it's about the friendship between these characters and how that falls apart when money comes into the equation and bigger things. So, you take that basic concept and you put it into a much more interesting wrapper of these personalities, mm-hmm. and you know, especially Ice Cube's personality and how he splits from the group and how that conflict starts and how he just decides to forge out on his own and not take shit from anybody. Mm. Like, I don't it as a story, as a character drama, it just worked. Yeah. And it was really well made, and I didn't expect it to be nearly as entertaining or impactful as it was. So I have to put it up there when I think about movies that simultaneously accomplished something and were fun movies to watch. I have to put it up there because I had a great time watching it. Mm-hmm. So it's a great middle ground between, you know, fun and serious.
Yeah. Well, like I said, even though I kind of have it lower, maybe I think my issues I probably had expectations a bit too high for it.
Maybe
because based on the reviews, I was like, oh, this thing's gonna be amazing. I watched it. It's like I said, love the first 2/3. Third act, it kind of simmered down for me. Like, it was still a good movie. Just at that point, it didn't quite live up to what I had hoped for.
Oh, but the wheels were all rolling at that point. So.
But I agree with you. Like they. And, I agree that the whole fact is, I didn't see it as glorifying, anti-police behavior. It's like, okay, you know what? They actually laid out the culture here. They mm-hmm. explained it was, why is it so important? It's and why, I remember the moment, in the trailer, it's we're not glorifying this. This is supposed to be a reflection of, what we deal with. Yeah. It's now I understand. Now I want to see this.
Yeah. And I love how they... Because you would hear about how the song "Fuck the Police" was inspired, but to see that actually filmed in the way that it was, including the black policemen, and the way that they were talked to, and the burritos getting knocked out of their hands and shit, that's not a dramatization.
Oh, no, that's exactly how it happened.
That's fucking L.A.
Yeah,
that's the LAPD. That's been a problem, and that's what that song is about. And seeing that put on film, it was cool. It was really cool. Right. So
let's move on because we got an American late. It's 5:40. It's 5:45
We're getting close.
Yep. So, by the way, the director of Spotlight was Tom McCarthy, who also directed The Cobbler.
What?
Yeah.
And The Station Agent. Let's be fair.
And The Station Agent, The Visitor, and Win-Win.
Yeah. But not a very well-known director.
Okay. So my number 2, again. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, and I had a really fucking hard time picking between this and number 1, and if you know what this movie is, you probably know what number 1's going to be. My number 2, Inside Out.
Same here.
Huh.
Okay, yeah. I loved...
Didn't see that either.
I loved Inside Out so goddamn much. I remember I texted you, I saw it opening night, and I texted you immediately after I saw it, and I said, this is the movie we've been fucking waiting for all year. Because we've seen shitty movie all year. I walked in, I was like, that was amazing. I've been wanting this all fucking year. And the big reason behind it is because I always love shit like this, or the voices in the head, that kind of stuff. I always found that stuff intricately fascinating.
Yeah.
And
so you loved Meet Dave.
No, when I've heard that comparison.
You love Osmosis.
I actually didn't mind Osmosis when I first saw it. I don't know how it's hold up but anywho. But no, I loved Inside Out because I think there's such a great imagination to it. There's such great characters, and the voice acting is incredible, and the real life moments are incredible. It's just there are so many ideas thrown at you all the time. A lot of it are factually accurate. Scientists look at me and goes, no, we basically say that's how the mind works, and that's how personality is formed, and everything they do just builds up to this great moment, and they have such a wonderful moral that no other kid movie I have ever seen has had, ever. And it's such an important one, and it's so glossed over so much in life, is the fact that
it's okay to feel sad.
Yeah, like basically, like, it's the only way it says, like, hey, being sad, it's okay. It's not only okay, but it's important. You're supposed to feel sad. You're supposed to have some emotion. It's important for empathy. It's important for character growth. It's important for becoming an adult. It's important for building emotional depth.
Yeah.
Then, if you try to stay happy all the time, you'll eventually collapse under your own weight.
Well, that if you lose happiness, you become a fucking sociopath. I think it's kind of what it says. But, like, I think every person I've talked about this movie that, granted, liked the movie, has all said there's been, like, one of two moments where they at least teared up, if not sobbed openly. For some, it's when one character's fate, which I'm not going to say.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, one other thing I like about a Pixar movie is it does not have a villain. This is like the first Pixar movie I think I've ever seen where there is no villain.
Well, it's just a girl trying to deal with life, right?
Because given the subject...
Well, they had, like, they were saying enough for what could have been a villain in the movie, but they didn't go that route. I'm very glad they didn't.
Given the subject of the film, it's like...
It would have been distracting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like when you... This thing I hate about depression is, like, it's one of those things where, like, you are... In some regards, you always see yourself as, like, your own worst enemy.
Yep.
And so, like...
I think we all kind of relate to that one.
Yeah. Because, like, the thing... Like, I remember that was the difference between this and Brave, is, like, even though neither... Well...
This is so much better than Brave.
Yeah, Brave... No, I wasn't a big fan. It's like, that didn't really have much of a villain either. Save for the bear.
That was tacked on.
Yeah, but here it's like... This made complete sense on, like, a mental and... both a physiological and biological...
Yeah, well, it's like, especially the second moment, which, like, it's one of those moments I feel like anyone who's ever gone through difficult experience with, granted, loving parents, has had a moment like this. And it's like, at that one I feel like almost anyone can sympathize with on some level or another. And that's why it hit me especially so fucking hard when I first saw it.
Yeah.
I almost did openly sob in the theater. And I heard, like, everyone in the theater I saw just, like, there was a group of teenage girls behind me who were openly weeping.
I guess I have to see it.
Yeah.
But, like, it is such an incredible movie. Like, even, like, it's also very, very funny. Louis Black as Rage is such beyond perfect casting.
I was gonna mention that.
And he does it so fucking well. He was like my favorite character, because guess which one I relate to. Because even then, there's such great, brilliant little tiny moments. Like when it shows into other people's brain, and you see like their... And you see, like, their primary emotion is, like, in the middle chair. So, like, some people have rage in the middle chair. For other people, like, sadness in the middle chair. It's such a great, tiny little moment. Stuff like
Wasn't there, like, one guy who was, like, nothing but rage?
Yeah, it was the school bus driver.
That's right!
We're just all rage. And, like, just great joke. It was such a brilliantly set up movie. It was just a brilliant way of just how people develop emotional complexity. It's easily one of Pixar's best movies, if not their best movie I've seen, at least in the past few years.
Yeah.
Not saying much, granted, but still.
Yeah.
Like, I fell in love with this movie right away. So.
And yeah, like I remember, I think the only issue I remember was like what was like something that was kind of a bit of a plot hole.
Mm-hmm.
But even it's just like the rest of it is like it was so smartly done, just so relevant and actually to a certain extent educational in terms of like the way the emotional line works. Like it's hard, you can get over it.
Well, it's such an important moral lesson that nobody teaches ever. Yeah. Like, because we're always taught that sadness is that thing we should just suppress and never feel ever, because if you do, you're a weak and bad person. But it's like the first time I ever said, like, hey, you're supposed to. That's part of fucking life.
And the way they revealed it is like, oh.
Even that, like, it's told visually, not explicitly. And I thought that was also brilliant how they did that, too. But I think I've rattled on enough. Greg, do you have anything to say about it? Because I feel like
I think we were both kind of going back and forth on this one. So it's
Alright. So, Muha, let's go for, I'm sure you're radically different. Number 2.
My number 2? Alright.
I know where this is going. You're going to have to explain this one.
Oh, yeah. My number 2 is Jupiter Ascending.
Alright, let's hear it. Make your case.
I loved the shit out of Jupiter Ascending. I had such a good time watching that movie. It is so dumb, and at the same time, it makes no attempt to pretend that it's any less dumb than it is. This is the Wachowskis' at their finest.
I
And I have to go with that because people will argue that The Matrix was the Wachowskis at their finest. Fine. If you want to ignore what the Wachowskis are. The Matrix was a fluke. The Matrix was a fluke, and it had lots of great special effects. Now look at everything else the Wachowskis have ever done after that. From the Matrix sequels, to Speed Racer, to,
You know what? I will still say Speed Racer is underrated.
I fucking love Speed Racer, but that's my point with it.
Yeah.
Speed Racer is gleeful in its absolute no fucks given attitude. It tries to be the anime that it's based on in a way that no motion picture has ever tried. It's like pixie sticks jacked into your eyes. Like, just... And near the end, it gets to the point where you really have to be paying attention, really close attention, because things are happening so fast that you won't know how this actually wound up happening as the climax.
I watch that when I get the chance next time.
No, dude, it's so great! And
wait, were you talking about the much stuff going on? We're talking about Speed Racer, Jupiter.
Speed Racer.
Because I need to watch that again. Because
Yes.
there was 1 week where I watched it like every day at the drive-in.
It's fun! It's a really fun movie. Now, Jupiter Ascending. What is this movie? It's monstrously stupid. But the thing about it is, I feel like it's only monstrously stupid because we didn't spend enough time there.
just FYI, guys, we got about a half hour left before I gotta get out of here.
Alright, I think we can run through the numbered ones in that time.
Yeah, anyway, we can go ahead.
But Jupiter Ascending it creates a universe. It creates a universe. It creates worlds we go to where the set design and the art design of each one is so distinct and so complete that I have listened to numerous people talk about this movie, and so many of them agree that it should have been a miniseries.
Yeah.
Because each planet that they land on, they should spend at least half an hour there, because there is so much that there's so much that you're not seeing and you can tell. And the amount of creativity and imagination that went into all that is phenomenal. That's on one side. The other side of it is the dialogue is campy and hammy for a reason. And people can act like, oh, it's just bad dialogue. No. It's Mila Kunis being like, oh, I don't know what's happening. Like,
but she loves dogs.
Oh my god, the best line in the movie is when she's like, and the romance between them is so weirdly contrived, but it's kind of funny because it kind of works because they're both kind of shy about it.
So let me be clear here. You're not justifying this as a good movie.
I'm justifying this as my most enjoyable movie of last year.
Fair enough.
I enjoyed Jupiter Ascending more than I enjoyed any other movie last year, and I include Star Wars in that tenfold. Fuck it. Star Wars Episode 7 would have been better under their hands. I will absolutely stand by that.
I think
because they understand action sequences better, they understand character consequences better, they understand
we're including Eddie Redmayne in this,
better.
right?
No, he's the enemy. How much did Kylo Ren evolve as an enemy? He didn't. He's the enemy.
They're probably gonna be using that for like the next 2
as they move on, but Episode 7 on its own, whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
When it comes to what Jupiter Ascending gets done, the action sequences are there, the comedy is there, better than it is in Star Wars. The funny moments are funnier, I think. The character development is better. The characters are more realistic and endearing, I think.
I'm not sure I go that far, but okay.
The imagination in the movie is way more. The creativity, the worlds they create, is way higher than Star Wars Episode 7 even tries to be. Everything that Star Wars Episode 7 tries has been argued to be rip-offs of other Star Wars and too much of an homage. You look at Jupiter Ascending, you see so much new and interesting content that you kind of regret not being able to spend more time looking at it and exploring it.
I would say new, yes. Interesting, questionable.
Then you're not watching it. Because
well, I think someone put it best, where it's like, they didn't go with one idea. They didn't go with 2 ideas. They went with all the ideas.
But that's the thing, it really feels like an epic that was cut down. So I honestly would have loved to see a Jupiter Ascending trilogy.
I think you're giving this way more credit than it deserves.
You can eat a dick, I've watched it more than a couple times, alright? Jupiter Ascending is a fun movie. Don't take it too seriously. Have a good time. I enjoyed Jupiter Ascending much in the same way that I enjoyed the original trilogy. And in a way that I did not enjoy Episode 7. And I honestly think that the new Star Wars movies would have been so much better if they'd at least let the Wachowskis have extensive hands-on with them. Because the Wachowskis understand how to make a fun movie more than J.J. Abrams does.
But it wasn't but even then, you're not really saying it's a good movie. You're saying it's a good dumb movie.
I'm saying it is an absolutely enjoyable movie. If you want my recommendation for how to have a great time with any movie from last year, I would say just let it all go, grab some popcorn, watch Jupiter Ascending, because it's fun.
In all fairness, you have told me it is stupid fun with...
I
create life!
And I take it away. Like, for fuck's sake, she kicks him in the balls later. He's like, kill her! And she's like, fuck you!
And then he became the Danish girl.
Yeah, right? It's like, oh, jeez, man. but seriously, like, looking at the movie itself,
okay, man.
like, you can't argue that it's a great movie, but will you have a great time watching it? I will argue yes, if you're able to just not take it seriously. For fuck's sake, Sean Bean plays a bee person, and the one thing that distinguishes him as a bee person is yellow and black stripes in his buzz cut. He has a buzz cut. Is that a pun? I don't know, but I love it. I love it.
I think you and I talked about this the other day. It's
the bee guy has a buzz cut in a yellow jacket pattern.
I mean, like,
I'm in.
To be fair, like, I guess you were saying to extent. I'm not sure I agree with you, but I see what you're saying. I think it's kind of like what I said about Ghost Rider 2. I love that movie to death, but I will never say it's better than like any of the Marvel movies.
I cannot say that it is a great movie. I will never say that, but I fucking love it.
Okay,
I
fair
love
enough.
it, man. And there is so much in it that went unappreciated. Like, if you watch it again, just make extra sure to pay attention to the set designs. Just the costume designs. There's so much depth to how much went into that movie, man. It's a waste.
Fair enough. Okay, so that will say to each their own. But that being said, I probably should watch it again. That should be another reaction video we should do.
I will. I have it on Blu-ray. Let's do it. I'm down to watch it again. I had such a blast.
Hopefully I can get away with that on YouTube too.
All right.
Somehow we got away with putting Kirk Cameron footage on YouTube. So maybe let me do
It's because it's fair use, so we're doing it a pair.
Yes, it's educational purposes, right?
Yeah. Let's
although YouTube's blocking for
Number ones.
3, 2, 1. Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah. Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah. As far as like kind of,
I haven't seen that.
You really need to see that.
I know. We probably both have it on.
I was choosing between that and The Gift. I bought it digitally the other day, so.
If you like Jupiter Ascending for its insanity, you'll love Mad Max. That's another new idea. There is a new idea thrown at you every fucking second of the movie. There's always some great design. Some are just random. There's one henchman that only appears in a couple scenes that has a fucking baby doll's head in the back of his head for no fucking reason. He just has it there. And just shit like that. It is a... What do they call it? Like the Wile E. Coyote chase from beginning to end.
Yeah. And
it's fantastic. The action's great. The lighting, the cinematography is fucking gorgeous.
And I heard it's basically a silent film. Like, there's almost no dialogue.
No, there's plenty of dialogue, but
it's pretty minimal. It's like it's Revenant levels.
Yeah. The majority of the film.
I would say it's probably more dialogue than the Revenant. But Mad Max has the traditional, doesn't say much at all for the entire movie's face, though. I mean, like, especially watching like the Mad Max Road Warrior or like even like Thunderdome, the movies are very rarely ever about Mad Max, even though he's the title character.
Yeah. He's the facilitator.
Yeah, he's the observer. He's the chronicler basically of these events. So if you're honestly like, oh, didn't we call Mad Max by the time we really about Mad Max? Well, yeah, none of the fucking movies are.
Yeah. Save for the first.
Except maybe for the first. I mean, other than that, he's always been the passive observer who doesn't really want to. He just falls into this shit. He doesn't want to fucking be here.
Yeah.
He's only being there because he kind of got roped into it, but now he's trying to make the best of it.
He just wants to survive and be left alone.
But either way, just the use of CGI mixed with practical effects. CGI is almost exclusively used in the background, and that's why it fucking works.
It was almost completely practical.
And I didn't even know it was CGI until I watched the behind the scenes later. And I saw how they add that stuff in.
Have you read the behind-the-scenes stuff about the older Mad Max movies?
I've heard about those stuff, but...
There are shots in the movies where they kept the shots where the stuntmen, like, broke their legs and shit. Like, you get to see actual, for-real human injury. Yeah. Like, very serious. And there was one guy who apparently, he broke his leg, had to have like a bar put in it with screws and shit, and was doing a stunt shot and bent the bar.
Oh god!
And they kept that shot. I would hope so.
Because George Miller.
Yeah, but I think George Miller said the deal was that if they... No, I'm thinking totally different interview. It was actually with the Crank guy. But he had a principle with his stuntmen where if you got injured in the stunt, we use that shot. Actually, to honor you.
I heard there's some movie where like some guy actually died and they actually kept that footage.
Ben-Hur?
No, it was some... Maybe it was. My uncle told me...
Ben-Hur's kind of the most famous one of those.
Because the guy... My uncle told me like some guy... It was a movie where like a guy is basically falling off a cliff. And they didn't... Like they messed up with like the safety harness or the thing for him. So that was... So his... Flailing was actually him flailing before he hit the ground and died.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Well.
I don't know which one that is. Find out.
Anywho, back to...
Alright. Number one movies.
Back to Mad Max, though. Just, again, it has a phenomenally great villain. It just... creepy and fucking over the top. The weird culture and cult mentality this movie builds is phenomenal. Like, there's one like it's minimalistic storytelling, so it doesn't explicitly tell you how this world works or like what the characters are in it. It just shows you to you and expects you kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah, it's a lot of implication.
Yeah, a lot of implication, like how the little like the goons work, or like how like what do they call them, like Half-Lives or something like that?
Oh, the Half-Lifers, because they're basically dying from radioactive poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then like how some people have names for their tumors on their shoulder, and then, like all the cars have a very unique design and very and it's all fucking real. It makes you realize how much of a lost art practical effects are.
Oh yeah,
it's like Tarantino, a film.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like a lot of just great shots. It's fucking gorgeous. The action is phenomenal. Like, I had such a hard time choosing between this Inside Out, and I went back and forth on it like 5 times.
Yeah.
Until finally I was like, I gotta give it to Mad Max. I have to. It's just one of those things. It's a feat that's so fucking good. It's got nominated for Best Picture. Is how fucking good it is as an action movie. You know how hard that is?
That's a sci-fi action movie of all things.
Yeah, so it's like, the fact that it's gotten there is nothing short of a goddamn miracle.
It reminds me of when Return of the King won Best Picture. It's like, what? Lord of the Rings movie not only made it to nominations, but it won? What is this madness?
Doesn't that hold the record for tied record for most?
Yeah, it was tied with Titanic for 11.
No, it's tied with Ben-Hur, I thought.
No, Titanic was the record breaker for 11. Titanic came out and got 11 Academy Awards.
That's right. I was thinking of nominations.
Yeah, nominations is different. I don't keep track of that.
Grant, what do you have to say about Mad Max?
It's the same thing. It's just like, it is...
It's perfect.
Yeah, it's like there's really nothing outwardly wrong with it. Like, and it's just the carnage, the imagination that they have, like, between every action set piece, where they find ways to, like, actually diversify, is so hard to do, unlike...
They find something new to do in every scene there are, and there's just so many little bit moments that are just... They didn't need to have that in there, but they did, and it's fantastic. There's just like, for example, the leader of Bullet Town has bullet for teeth, and he takes one out and puts it in his gun, and he uses that to try to kill Mad Max.
Wow.
And just shit like that, like the guy at the bank has like one limp foot that's swelled up to here, and he has like little nipple chains that are attached to each other. Shit you don't need. Guitar guy. There's literally...
Yes, the guitar guy!
They literally have one of their war vehicles is literally there to revive the movie's soundtrack. As there's a guy that has no eyes, has a rag over his head. It was a huge fucking, like, fuck all, like, sound system behind him, who's just tied to it, and he's just rocking out the guitar the whole time. And it has flames attached to the end of it.
Like, the guitar is a flamethrower.
Yes.
So all his flames are going on the side. That comes into later when Mad Max grabs it, we just whack somebody, his flames are cascading across the screen.
So a mean Burning Man attendant's wet dream.
Pretty much.
Yes.
And like behind that truck is like a whole line of drums of just people going boom, 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 boom.
Burning Man meets Death Race.
Yeah.
There you go.
Pretty much. And it's just, there's so much, it's like, I've watched it like 5 times now, and every time I catch something a little different.
Oh, nice. Alright.
So it's one of those movies.
It's like...
Should I wait to get it on 3D Blu-ray to watch it?
Well, it is on 3D Blu-ray.
Should I wait to get it on 3D Blu-ray, or should I just watch it in duty?
I don't know, because I've been told we didn't see it in 3D.
Okay.
No. If you want the full experience, I would recommend it, like, don't watch it on your computer, watch it on a big TV.
So it wouldn't hurt to get the 3D, because from what I heard, it was actually used fairly well.
Alright, so, while you're looking on that, I think we've kind of said our piece, so...
Alright.
How you want to give your number 1? I'm pretty sure I know what it is by now, but...
Well, yeah.
It's
my
only one
number
left.
one is, my number 1 is Sicario.
Alright.
when I was thinking about the list for this year, I couldn't think of a single better movie that had come out in all respects. It wasn't necessarily fun.
No.
But it managed to do things that multiple other movies were on my list were trying to do, but it did them better and with higher concepts. So if you want to talk about real world implications, Sicario. If you want to talk about morality, Sicario. If you want to talk about thrillers, Sicario. If you want to talk about crazy action sequences that are like really harrowing in a weird way, Sicario. It's not over the top action. It's that tense like someone could shoot us at any moment action. It manages to do something that I don't think I've seen in a movie recently or even ever, which is start off from one character's perspective and then basically over the course of the movie show how that character is completely unprepared and naive for what they're encountering, and then shift to the perspective of someone who is older and wiser, kind of, and show what that original character's perspective looks like from that new perspective. But it did it blatantly with characters, and I can't remember the last time I've seen something like that. And it sets the tone so amazingly with that opening scene, that opening raid on the house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That, I mean, you're seeing things like bodies stuffed in the walls, and a bomb goes off, and there are body parts everywhere of different cops and stuff. And Emily Blunt's character hasn't seen anything like this before. It's a war zone. She's shaken and jarred, but she wants to do something more. She wants to help avenge this wrong that's come to her team. So she signs up for a mission that she's in no way prepared for. And as you dive into that, you not only you get to experience the world conflict from the perspective of someone who thinks the same way that we think about right and wrong, and then you start talking to and it's something that I've seen in conversations between people who are, armchair idealists versus people who have actually seen combat. It's a question of, what has to be done, what can be done even, and what do we do within the parameters of what we can do. And when you find out that the U.S. government's plot, what they're trying to do to resolve the conflict down there, when you realize what their overall goal is, you're like, what, really? That's what we're trying to do? And the thing about it is that that's not a fake thing. That's something we do. And we know we do it. If you look into it, we do stuff like that all over the world. We've done it since Iran in the 50s. And it's insane to think that a movie was able to not only have the guts to do something like this, but was able to pull off such a complex tapestry of morality and situations and questions of what's suitable in different situations, and perspective versus objectivity, and duty versus what's right. It manages to tackle so many questions of law enforcement and international relations, and even just vigilantism and justice in general, and drug dealers. It has so many things it tackles to really make you consider, the morality of these situations, while at the same time being a thoroughly entertaining military thriller. And every actor in that movie knocks it out of the park. The writing is great. It has little moments of humor. Josh Brolin is fucking magnificent in this character that seems to be able to occupy any skin, but it doesn't seem like he as an actor is making that character occupy any skin. He's playing a character that's so good at being whoever he needs to. It's a layered performance from all of them. And the ending is just so haunting and profound, and the last exchange between Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt is so interesting, and what it says about his character and her character, it's so dense with what it says. And when I compare that to every single other movie I've seen, I can't go to The Gift or Hateful Eight or any of those movies, and the one thing they're trying to do Sicario is trying to do that one thing plus like 5 other things and kills all of them. And I've thought about it a lot, and the more I thought about it, I can't argue. Sicario is the best movie last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just on a purely like movie level, it brings it together, and I was so impressed by that. And I'm a big fan of the director too. So seeing him come and do something on this level and get this level of recognition for it, really excited to see what that gives him access to for his next project.
Yeah. All right, so that's been our list for the best movies of 2015.
Woo.
I think we managed to put that in just probably a little over an hour and a half, so we actually did
Nice.
pretty good. So, because I'm thinking we started, 4:30, give or take, about 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So about an hour and a half. That's about how long it was last year, so good job, everybody. We don't, unfortunately, I don't think we have time to film the worst of, but we can film that on Sunday if we're going to do the photo shoot thing.
I haven't seen enough movies to say
Sunday, the
much
photo
stuff.
thing, that won't be till later in the evening. Unfortunately,
That's fine.
yeah, so maybe before then, yeah.
Yeah, because I got all day tomorrow on Sunday off, so.
Okay.
Keep our eyes out for the worst of list and whatever the hell we got coming up next week. I'm sure I'll find like 55,000 other projects. I just played that Dragon Cancer not too long ago, so I'll probably do a review of that. And I finally played the Beginner's Guide, and I've basically been catching up on a shit ton of other things I've been to do forever. I finally finished all the goddamn episodes of comic cartoons that we had already recorded, because I'm trying to get around to that for fucking months. That's finally done. So there's a lot of stuff to look forward to, not to mention stuff I'm working with Ron, so we can get some actual quality into the channel, and yeah, a lot of exciting shit coming, so stay tuned.
Yeah.